Welcome to Whose Review Matters Anyway, the podcast where the show notes are made up and the reviews don't matter, just like any anticipation you have for any movies or TV shows in the next coming year. Because the whole entire saga of Hollywood is on strike.
Yay!
Yep,
Ham, it's your fault.
it always is.
Actually, both of you wanted to see the destruction of theaters, therefore, you both wanted to see the fall of Hollywood.
What does it mean, man?
I mean, are they doing the strike because of money?
Well, it's always about money, isn't it?
Touche.
But but one of the bigger issues that's why money is becoming a factor is because of the AI stuff. AI scripts, AI background actors, or just actors in general, just any AI likeness of actors, and like whether or not you should be paid, like what's your value here? Do you even need a job? Blah blah blah. Yeah, there's a
Right,
whole ton of shit. It was originally just the writers first, and then the actors decided to jump on board too because they're part of the whole union with them.
right.
Correct.
So it's just because more of a because I'm just trying to get a more of an understanding and feel of like, okay, so they're doing the strike because they want more pay and more appreciation.
Kind of like okay, so think about this, right? If you let's do House, right? Because I'm watching House right now. Hugh Laurie probably does get some sort of residual check for
Yeah.
every time someone watches an episode of House.
Right,
But now what they want to do currently in Hollywood is that okay, background actor, we're gonna just pay you for a days of work being here, and now we can just use your likeness whenever without having to owe you any residuals at all. And that could
Yeah.
go the same for the actor itself as well. Like, okay, we'll just pay you for like a week's worth of time because we're just gonna need you for this week. But now that we have your likeness and everything with AI, we don't need to pay you anymore. You don't get any residuals.
so they're just got you. Okay, so it's
But
pretty much like, okay, for an example, like, right, a creator, I have a story and I present it to Hollywood or whoever wants to pick up the project, and they go with it. They use my writing and everything like that, and blah blah blah. Over the years, they will stop paying me.
No, they won't even pay you. They're gonna only pay you once for your background acting. They'll use your image
Mm,
the entire time now.
also as a writer, it's like for the writer's sake, you can generate scripts using AI. Like you don't need a
right,
writer anymore, which is kind of like the scary part of it. Is like you don't need writers to create whole series or whole movies. Like you can generate an entire script of any series or any film, any episodes, whatever, but just using AI. So like what's the point of writers? You need them just to like I don't know, correct grammar or just to oversee it. But then if that's the case, do you pay them the full value as if they were writing the episode, or do you just
hmm
pay them like half or a third of the money because you're really just using them for like proofreading services as opposed to just writing the script?
but also too, isn't it like bad negotiations based on the writers?
What
What
do
do
you
you
mean?
mean?
As in, like, hey, because you know how with actors, right? They have agents and they come out. For an example, Robert Downey Jr. He gets a piece of a pie of each Marvel movie. He gets at least like 2% of box office of
It
any.
depends if it's in the contract. A lot of actors don't get that.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is that that's good negotiation on his part. Wouldn't you think like it's more on the writer's fault for letting it come this way instead of negotiating of like, hey, I'll give you my story, but I get part sales of box office,
Yeah,
at
but
least like 1 or 2%.
writers really can't do that because anyone and everyone wants to write, and yeah, writers don't get paid as well as actors.
But that's the thing though, like that's what I'm saying. Like, isn't that bad negotiation on their part as well?
Bad negotiation, as in like they're not fighting hard enough, or that this is like not in their favor, or like what do you mean by bad negotiation?
He's saying they're not
It's
doing
it's
what they
it's
can
not.
to get paid more. I mean, I
They're
don't.
not. They're not fighting enough to get paid more. That they have settled they have settled somewhere across somewhere back then of like I don't know when they have started like paying writers lower and like paying them like just shit. Wouldn't you think like over time like they would be like, yo, you know what, like I'll give you my story, I have a great story here, but it's my story. Over time I don't mind giving you, and we could do the story together, but I get some piece of the I get a piece of the sales in box office and everything like that.
It
Um,
it
I don't know. I think that's probably what has now been like. I don't know if it's. I think what you're getting at is like, what is it like? Kind of too late at this point. Like, why wait this long when you could have done it earlier? But I don't know if things were as
Yeah.
extreme as they were now, or as they were like. I don't know if things are as extreme back then as they are now. Because I'm pretty sure this all probably stemmed from COVID and how movies skipped movie theaters altogether. And I'm sure writers,
Right.
some writer or maybe a group of writers, got maybe some percentage for success at the box office, just like we talked about this with I think the actors, like voice actors of Trolls or something, where like they didn't get their bonus or whatever because their bonus would have been based off box office hits, but because it didn't go box office, they were not eligible for that. I'm sure the same kind of effect happened with writers, and at this point they're just like kind of fed up with it, especially with now AI being a big thing.
well,
Now
yeah, well, that's the point. The writers don't have the power to do what you're saying. It's all the studios have the actual power. That's why they're on strike, and even more to where we were talking about the AI. They, if the
I
big
mean
companies wanted to use AI, guess
I
what? They'll just get rid of the middleman.
Hmm.
I just find this whole AI thing as an excuse, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Of course, like now they created this whole thing with technology, but it's just like back then. I don't know. Like there was no AI, and honestly, the writers, in my opinion, have power. For an
They don't.
example, I'm gonna give out two great directors that they are writers of their own film, and in my opinion, they're they're the definition of how you should do things in film. Quentin Tarantino and Christopher Nolan. Of course, not everybody has the gift to direct and somewhat and some and even like Tim Burton. But I just feel like it's just down the line, back then, or I don't know when everything turned into shit and everything like that. Of like, we're not getting paid as much as writers. Well, let's go on strike. We deserve to get a lot more paid. Of course, they should get paid a lot more. But now with the whole AI thing that people are using as an excuse, it's just like, in my opinion, the writers fucked up.
Mm,
I
I
don't.
don't know. It's hard. I don't know. I don't know if I can disagree or agree with that. I see what you're trying to get at, but I don't think AI is an
Mhm.
excuse. So like if we take I don't know if you started watching Marvel Secret Invasion. Apparently that whole intro sequence is AI generated. So
Yes,
then do we pay any of the visual effects people or any of the visual people at all for any part of that at all? Or do we say, well, it was generated by AI, so it costs us
Mhm.
nothing. Let's not pay these visual people for whatever for putting it together. That wasn't their job. They didn't do it, so they get paid for absolutely no reason. Like they just get $0 out of this. Like I don't.
The the AI created the script for Indiana Jones because my God, destroy that AI.
I don't know. I think AI is a very. I think you know what? I'm going to disagree with the notion that you're thinking that it's too late. I think this is now the right time because AI is escalating into a lot of different like categories, a lot of different areas, and I think this is like the time to really hash out like what do they expect from all members of films, especially voice actors. Voice actors are also in on this too. Like exactly how are they going to proceed going forward? Because right, if films or studios are going to say we're going to solely just rely on AI for film for writing, then you just basically like there's no point in writers anymore in Hollywood in all film history. Like there's just no point, which kind of that's not okay. I don't think that's okay in any way whatsoever.
No, I don't think
So
it's okay either.
I think this is like the good time to be like, okay, let's stop everything and figure all this out before we continue to make all these like big box office hits, all these Marvel films or all these sequels of these legacy sequels or whatever. I think this is I think it's a good time for them to do it.
I just
Today's episode brought to you by Mike, big company supporter. Stomp on the little man. Good
no,
night.
no, 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 no. It's just more of like I don't know. I just think like with big companies, of course, they try to save money and everything like that. But there has to be some type down the line of like with meetings of, you know what, like we cannot do this with AI. We need to do this with these people. But it's just been proven. Like if you're telling me like in the first I haven't seen Secret Invasion yet, but if you're telling me that they were able to write down a whole entire script, and I don't know how the show is, if it's good or bad, not yet. Don't tell me yet. But if it's good, I mean,
Yeah, but how long can you fake it? Like you can probably fake it for like low budget stuff, but I'm pretty sure it'll be very obvious if you do like a big like blockbuster film.
I just want to see how Oppenheimer is. That's the film that I don't know if it was writers or was it AI. I think it was writers, but
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
think
know.
AI has been used for a film yet, not that I'm aware of.
No,
No. All
and
right,
then
we've
I'm
been talking
just
about this way longer than I had thought. Jesus Christ. That
Why
that
not?
all right, that's the whole episode. Good night, everybody. We're
Good night.
done.
Good night.
All right, let's get this going. We got three sections to talk about here. We're gonna Ham and I have been starting to play the new video game that we're gonna talk about here in just a minute. And then our main center of attention is gonna be Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. Came
Part
out
one.
over the weekend. This is the seventh one,
seventh.
Lost count.
seventh movie in the Mission Impossible franchise. And then we're gonna end it with I gotta talk to Mike about a couple of films that he praised over the past year that I need to question exactly. I need to come into the light a little bit and figure out like where his point of view was, so that way I can see him on terms of those movies.
I just
Because
heard talk shit. So there we go.
we'll see when we get there. But
Yeah,
anyway, Mike, you love dinosaurs, right?
yeah, sure.
Do you love mechs?
No.
Like robots and shit.
Yeah, like Gundams and shit.
At this point in my lifetime, not really, not anymore.
Well, then don't play this game we're going to talk about.
Okay, thank God.
Ham and I have started playing a new game that we've seen before in showcases, although Ham has forgotten about it. Um, the game is called Exoprimal. And we've kind of questioned it like a little bit when it came up. I don't know if Mike will remember, but it's basically mechs versus dinosaurs, where like the dinosaurs were coming through like some sort of wormhole thing, and then you're basically shooting down the dinosaurs, killing all the dinosaurs in like a city landscape or something like that. And that was all the trailers ever really gave off. The game came out finally. The only reason I started playing it, one, it looked kind of cool just because it's mechs versus dinosaurs. I think that's just kind of like an easy sell there. But also, it was on Games Pass. So for me and Ham, well, Ham had to find a code for it. For me and Ham, it was free to download. The game is sold though on other platforms, PC and PlayStation, but for the full price of $60. Now, I guess the first thing I will say about this game is that this is not worth the $60. I do not recommend anyone buying this game for that full price. Now, my actual take on the game, though, it's for me personally, we'll see what Ham has to say. It's a really fun game. It's very limited in its modes and what you can do, but the gameplay loop, I don't know. I'm addicted to it. Like, or I couldn't stop playing it for so long. Like, I think it's only been what 2 3 days, and I'm already like at level, um, I'm at level 40. I think right now, actually, at this point. And I think I'm like level 16 on the battle pass or whatever. Like, I've been playing a lot of it. Um, I there's more details to the gameplay, but Ham, what is your overall take on the game? Because when we first played, you said it was meh, but since you started playing, you haven't really stopped playing either.
Yellow card.
But why do you still keep playing it though?
To see if it gets better.
But then wouldn't that imply that you like it as it is right now?
No, because I want to see if other characters are actually better or fun to play with except for the default character that seems shitty.
What, the first mech that you get?
Yes, the first guy. I wonder if all the upgrades and rigs and all that make the game a little bit better, and I'd actually do better stuff in the game. Because right now, I'm like, this guy is almost useless.
Okay. So Mike, to kind of give you some insight here as to what exactly you do in this game, there's only one mode. It's called survival mode, I think. And it's 10 players in a match. You are on a team of
Uh
5 and you're against another team of 5. But your first set of objectives is not against each other. You're actually going through the city or the map, taking down dinosaurs, one objective after another. Sometimes it'll just be like a
mm-hmm.
bunch of raptors. Next objective, maybe it'll be like a T-Rex. Then the next objective, you have to defend something. You're basically racing the other team who's in that they're like in an alternate dimension, racing against you to see who finishes first. But then there's the final mission that, like, once you complete the first set of objectives, you get transported to a final mission where you're basically put into the same universe as the other team, and you could just be going against each other. You could be defending each, like, your own checkpoints, and you have to defend them like longer than the other team. You have to transport a key to a location, but like once you get to like the final place, like you can stop each other, like you can stop the teams from like finishing their transfer and stuff like that. So basically you are fighting against them at that point. So it's a race to the finish to see who completes their objectives first. But your mechs that you use, there's three categories. You have assault mechs, you have tanks, and then you have supports. If you played these games long enough, you obviously know that the assaults are going to be like your heavy hitters, your the shooters and stuff. Your tanks are there strictly just for defense, whether it's putting up shields, barriers, I don't know, taking on more hits than others, and then your supports are basically your healers. You're
Right.
recovering HP, maybe you're boosting stats or whatever, things like that. And that's essentially what all the game is. But you're just in that constant loop of just doing these objectives over and over again and just trying to beat the other team.
It sounds like I don't know if I'm wrong. Transformers: War of Cybertron,
I've
Never
never
played.
played it.
the multiplayer game. Yeah. Oh, okay. I mean, there's like like support, um, attack, and stuff like that. And of course, I've seen deathmatch and then or objectives that you have to do. It kind of sounds like that.
Never played
I
it. I don't know.
It's a lot of fun. I don't know. I honestly don't know why I'm as addicted to it as I am. Maybe because as far as like live service games, like it's something more different than just like, oh, here's my team versus your team. Let's see who gets the most kills. This one is just like literally it's complete objectives as a team, and your team setup does matter. Like if you don't have any assaults, like 'cause I see a lot of times I'm in the matches where it's just mostly like defense, like tanks and supports. You're going through that thing really, really slow. Um, but there are times though where you're falling so behind that you actually get a chance to catch up. Like they throw in these things like these I don't know what to call them because there's different forms of them where you can like delay an enemy from completing their objective and then allowing you to catch up and basically you can come all the way back from zero to just winning the entire match. It just depends on your team matchup. Like how well is your team? How well do you guys communicate? Do you understand what each other is doing? Like do you know where to assist your team? Things like that. So I don't know. I'm really liking it. The story is a bit weird because it's pulling a Titanfall 1 where this is completely online multiplayer, but you unlock bits of the story the more you play the multiplayer matches.
Right.
And there's no consistency to the story. Like you don't get the in between pieces unless you go to like there's a different tab called the analysis map where you like look at these archives and these logs and now you start unraveling like kind of the whole point of like why you're here and who brought you here and what is this thing that you're talking to and things like that. And then you do get cutscenes throughout like after some multiplayer matches. So like the story is a little bit all over the place. And it's hard to like kind of stay on track with it. But I don't know, the online multiplayer part is just the fun part to it. I don't know. I'm really enjoying my time with it.
Ham,
Uh,
anything you want to
yeah,
put? Like,
it's we'll see. Like I just feel like I need, and there's not that many maps. There's maybe three, but they also change it up here and there. There's different ways to go by it, which changes it up a little bit. But I do wish there were a lot more maps. Um, for the price point, there's no way I would pay a
I
lot of
would pay
money for this
$30
game.
tops.
How much?
30 the tops.
30. I was thinking 30, and even then I was like, I
That's
don't
why I
know.
said tops. Like that. That's like if you're charging 40, that's pushing it. But 30 is probably the most I would pay for this game if I had to pay.
Yeah.
and this game right now is 60.
Yes.
Yes.
What the fuck?
That's the thing I don't get. Where this is where like Games Pass kind of shine. Where if you're a live service game, just throw it on Games Pass and like have those players like just download the game and just play their time with it. And people will invest their money on like the microtransactions, which this game does have. There's no pay to win things here. It's just all strictly cosmetic stuff, which are kind of cool. Some of the suits are there are kind of cool. I don't know if Ham saw them. But there was one recent. There was in a Capcom showcase that they had like a couple weeks ago. Eventually, you'll have like Street Fighter mechs that you can wear. I think there's like a Ryu and a Guile exosuit that you could wear to battle against the dinosaurs.
Yeah, but what
Um,
is that?
what do you mean? A win is that? I have no idea, but um, I don't know. It's all cosmetic stuff, so it's not like you're getting new attack powers or stuff like that. The rigs do. You have like three rigs you can install, which have different components. Like you can either increase some of your attack stuff, or you can increase your health, or you can increase the recharge rate of some of your weapons, like the cool rate stuff and things like that. So there is like a lot of customizability. Is that a word? I'm gonna make that a word.
Sure.
Customizable options for your mechs, which is kind of cool. Like I find myself going in the hangar every once in a while and just like kind of changing up suits if I wanted to. Yeah, I don't know. I would like to give it a green card, but that's just me because of the fact that I didn't pay anything for it beyond my Games Pass subscription,
Right.
and I mean that's it. I could easily give it a green card because of how fun the loop is. Like I would like Mike to play and to play with us, but I can't. I don't recommend him to go waste $60 on a game that he may not even like have like that much of a big like. I don't know, likening to it, whether he likes dinosaurs or not. Mike, I honestly think you would find the game kind of cool. Not love it, but I think you would find it fun. But I just don't want you to pay $60 for it because it's not worth the $60.
What's the name of the game again?
Exoprimal.
Exoprimal. Okay.
So I don't know if you can con somebody to give you $60 to pay for it, but otherwise, just wait till it goes on a sale for like
Can he not
20,
get it on
$30.
computer?
Oh, that's a good question. May if he maybe because what he would have to do the Games Pass
Yeah,
on PC,
that's what I'm saying.
Mm,
Though you
which
could.
I think is like 15. No, is it $10? I think it's $10. I don't know. They changed up their things recently, so I don't remember the
Really?
exact price. Yeah.
Huh.
I'll look into it. I'll tell you that much.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yes.
Right. And
So
Ham says he gives it a gold card.
Well, yeah,
he
I'll
gives
give it Xbox Gold and not have to pay for the other thing. Sure.
got
All
you.
right.
Okay.
All right. Let's move on to our main topic. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. It's supposed to be 2 or 3 parts. Did they ever say
It's
I
two
don't know.
parts.
2 parts?
Yes. So this is part one, and the next one, part two,
Next summer, I think, right?
and then it's done. Yeah, next summer.
Is it supposed to be the final Mission Impossible
Yep.
movie, or it is?
No,
Okay.
Yeah.
somebody said Tom Cruise was in talks about it might be in the final, but then they saw about Indiana Jones, so he said, "Oh, maybe we can make some more."
Nah,
Well,
this is the final what I've
it,
read and what he has interviewed.
well, it also depends too, like on how successful this film is,
Yeah,
right? Like, I think
so
that's what it
far.
always comes down to. Like you can early
Correct.
talks, you can say, "Oh no, there's no plans for a sequel," but then the movie makes a shit ton of money, and then you're like, "Oh yeah, of course we're gonna make a sequel." So I think that comes down to like how well does this movie do, numbers wise in the box office.
Yeah,
But
right now, I have the numbers right here so far. If this is correct, globally, it already has $235 million globe
that's as of today, or
as
as
of
of.
today.
See, I don't know if that's still good or not. I don't know.
I don't know either. That's for the weekend, basically globally. Do you have anything domestic numbers wise?
I'm trying to see because everyone, you know how everyone likes to mix a whole bunch of shit together. Hold on.
Don't forget, it also came out, I think, earlier than expected. Um, I think it's stealth released a day or two early
I think so. Hold
because
on.
I saw it. I think it was supposed to come out on a Wednesday, and I saw it what Monday? Was it Monday night or something? I can't
Hold
remember.
I could
on.
not tell you.
Weekend daily box office. Yeah, at this moment, guys, there's no clear. For some reason, there's no like clear um box office. Hold on, box.
Well, if you look it up, we'll say it later. But let's go ahead with the ratings so far. IMDb gives it an 8.1 out of 10. Point
Ooh,
one. What
okay.
the fuck does a point one?
Um, point one, they get a extra bonus for I don't know. They
Extra
use a
credit.
they use a capital B for something.
Jeez. Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 96%.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
Now, Ham's mission, should he choose to accept it,
I always expect say that.
is to find a way to make I don't know, a skydiving bar where as you jump off
Ooh,
cliffs and go skydiving, you feed drinks, like you just serve up drinks to people. Actually, I feel like someone has done that.
that's legal.
That right? I'm sure that's okay, right?
No.
No? Okay. Well, Ham's trying to start up this business, which is why he had to really market this movie heavily because he gets some residuals off of this. 95% of Google users like this movie.
Damn. Hell yeah. Oh.
All right, all right, all right.
And I
Highly
do have the
anticipated.
numbers.
Okay, go ahead.
Domestic, 83 million.
Okay.
International, 155 million.
All right, and I
Interesting.
assume these numbers are just for this weekend that just
Just
passed.
for this weekend,
Yeah.
overall worldwide, $239 million. I don't have the budget of the film, but
I
I
think it'd be right around there, 250 maybe.
I think they are on track to make profit
Yes.
Oh, I'm sure.
for sure. So
All right. Well, I don't know if any of us were like really looking forward to this. I
I
mean, it's
was
another Mission Impossible movie, so you know,
huge
all the
fan.
previous ones were good. But Mike, you said you saying you're a huge fan, so you were looking forward to this the most.
Yes, I was.
Um, this was heavily delayed for like at least a whole year, I want to say, because I remember always seeing this trailer and I'm like, how has this movie not come out yet? Like, I feel like it should have been out already, like eons ago. But delays and delays and delays, wanting to make sure this movie gets put into film, put into theaters,
Yep.
despite what Mike and Ham want. So
And
here it is.
there was a dispute between having this film in IMAX because they were taking this film out for this week because of Oppenheimer and Barbie, and Tom Cruise was like, no, that's bullshit. We should be part of IMAX, and this and that, blah blah blah. So as of
What
now,
was
this
it
week
released
they're
in
in
IMAX?
IMAX. Huh?
It did release in IMAX.
It released in IMAX, but I think this week they're going to take it off of IMAX
Right.
because of
Okay.
Oppenheimer and
And
Barbie.
Barbie.
But Tom Cruise like, well, you better put our fucking film on too as well because we worked hard and shit like that.
Well, I guess that's a talking point we can have here in just a minute. Here we
Yeah.
go. Cards of how we felt about this movie, starting with Mike.
So I am a green card. Might be talked down to a yellow, but a green for me.
Okay. Ham?
Green card.
Solid green, no budging down
Yeah,
lower,
green card.
just green.
Hmm.
I'm a solid green as well. I'm interested to hear why Mike thinks he
Hmm.
might be talked down. Although so
I'll talk him down.
so here's what I will say. Like this is it's a good, solid action film. And I
Yes.
remember, and I texted you guys, like I remember going into this movie thinking, "Holy shit, this movie is almost 3 hours. Like what the fuck?"
Yeah.
Because I don't remember the last time I sat in a movie that was almost 3 hours. Maybe Endgame. I know
Yeah.
Mike
Batman.
saw Avatar, which was like a 3 hour film,
Hmm.
but
Batman.
like what?
Batman.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true.
Batman.
Batman
Yeah.
as well. I forgot. Okay, I guess Batman was the last one. But just thinking going in, I'm like, man, I haven't seen this film, like this franchise, in like years. I don't know if this is gonna get my attention for this long. I feel like I'm gonna check my phone every once in a while. I, I'll be honest. I did check my phone, but it wasn't because of like the movie was dragging on too long. I went to go see it late at night, so I usually just check my phone once in a while when I'm at a movie, just in case someone in case like my family texts me or something like that. But when I checked my phone, over 2 hours have gone by, and I'm like, holy shit, when did 2 hours just go by? Like it did not
Yeah.
feel to
I
me
agree.
like it was that long of a movie. So I will say this though, the first part of it, I don't know, like maybe the first 20 or 30 minutes, I was kind of hesitant thinking like I don't know if I'm going to like this movie cuz I can kind of see we're doing this whole like robot AI shit taking
Spoilers.
over, like we can't trust this and that. I'm like, it's
Spoilers.
this
Spoilers.
story
Spoilers.
again.
Everybody.
Oh yeah, sorry, spoilers, people, spoilers.
Spoilers.
Um I was just thinking like I don't know if this is gonna catch my interest because I feel like either we've seen this done or there's just too much talk about AI and social media or I kept thinking about iRobot and I'm like I don't know if I'm gonna like this. But I think they found a way to keep it interesting, even through the end credit, which I need to ask you guys what your thoughts were, because I found it interesting that it kind of almost took it back full circle. But I don't know. I
Hold on, I
like
heard there was no end credits.
no. I'm sorry. Like the right before the credits roll, like the very
Ah,
last
Oh, the
few seconds
submarine.
of the film. Yeah.
gotcha.
Um, the whole story was super interesting. As far as like the AI contraption, I guess the fact that it developed to be sentient basically, and started like I don't know, bribing or controlling other people to like do its will, to like being like a head honcho kind of thing, and trying to take out every possible scenario of anyone or anything taking down the AI itself. Um, and just like the setup, the little thinking of the puzzles here and there, the action sequences were good, which I will go out and say yes, this definitely should be an IMAX, and I think people should experience this in IMAX.
Yes, for
Yeah.
um,
sure.
I will say on the downside, there were a couple of instances where it was a little too goofy for my taste, or a little too like convenient. I think the one that sticks out like a sore thumb is the parachute. Like he just crashes at the exact
Yes.
right moment of when this girl, when Haley Atwell's character was supposed to die, and I'm like, did we really just do this? Did we just pull a cartoon here? Like what is happening? Like it was very like I don't know.
Yeah.
It stuck out like a sore thumb, and I was like, I'm gonna just let you slide because we've gone this far without really anything being that goofy. I feel like there was something else too before that, but I don't know where
Hmm.
like it hit or anything really hurts this movie too much to drop it down to like a mediocre film. I don't know. It's good. I definitely would recommend people to go out and watch it. Yeah, I had a good time with it.
Him.
I'm just surprised Mike didn't automatically give it a yellow or a red, just because it was very reminiscent of Indiana Jones with the big chase scene, and
What
also
the fuck?
also
Shut
with the
up.
with the scene with the train. There's a train scene, and I was like, oh, he's like, then he got chased by that, but then he got chased by that.
This was a way
Oh, the
better
car
chase
thing. You just
scene.
reminded me that part where they reversed the little mini car. That well, actually, that whole car thing. I was like, okay, why are we in a tiny yellow car? Like, is this really supposed to pull off for laughs? I think you're kind of forcing it. But then the scene where it reverses back into the tunnel, I was like, okay, that's another too convenient thing. I'm like, what? Why are we doing this? Like, you're better than this, Mission Impossible. Come on.
Huh,
Yeah, but this was a way better chase scene than Indiana Jones.
all right,
Way better. 10 times better. 100 times better.
okay. I'm just saying.
Disney should take notes. Just saying.
Actually, I kind of like the Indiana Jones one a little bit better.
Oh my
Oh,
god. Give me part.
Anyway, Ham, go on.
What, Ham?
yeah, no, I like the. I feel like they maybe just because it was part one, but I feel like they could have showed the AI do a little bit more. But I guess you see it in the beginning, and you're not really sure what's going on, but you see it there. You see it in the airport, and I guess it starts falling off after, right? Where do you see it after the airport? Really, like and when they control the voice, but other than that,
It was at the club. It was at the club where they did the meet.
yeah.
Yeah.
But what did it actually do?
Let's just set up the
Show that
meat
it's
of just
there.
of if it's there.
I just feel like it could have been just used a little bit more, maybe one more time. But I mean, I do like the fact that I think the best time was when they started using the voice, and it's like, oh, okay, here we go.
Well,
So,
okay, and hold that thought too, because that goes into something I want to talk about later.
Mm.
and actually, you know what though? That first time in the airport too, it was like, oh, it knows who it's talking to and asking it that it asking what's his name questions. So it already predicted that, which again, cool. I felt like there was a missed opportunity to do it one more time somewhere, but we'll see in the second part, I guess. I thought it seems like they retconned the villain because he's not. I don't think he's ever been in any of the Mission Impossible movies
No, he's
before.
not.
He's not, right? Okay.
No, no, no.
So that's like, oh, I knew him from the past, but I'm like, you've had all these movies. He's never been in one. So, I
Has
felt like
that
that was,
flashback been shown before?
I believe not.
No.
No. So this was
No. The only
entirely just made
thing
up.
it's
Yeah,
entirely
that's
made up, yeah. I the first thought of my mind was Mission Impossible 1 when they were going through the beginning of the film when they
yeah.
kill that girl, like when she got stabbed apparently, whatever.
Uh-huh.
But no, this is a whole brand new like flashback that we've
Yeah.
seen.
Which for having something that old now, what, 30 years almost?
Yeah,
Or yeah,
and never
like
mentioned them.
yeah, you could have done something better. And I'm of course pulling a Sal here and nitpicking, but other than that, yeah, I thought everything was great. Oh, the convenient part at the end with the train falls and then they're just looking at it. I'm like, yeah, okay. If you wanted to mention another part where I'm like, it was cool, then it's like, oh no, we're already off. Oh, who cares if that falls? Um, it was a little goofy at times, but I actually thought it was funny. It was actually it had some funny parts, which I was more. I don't. This might be a funnier one than most of the other movies, but again, it's been a while since I've rewatched any of them. Uh, what do you think about that, Mike?
So this film was definitely the funniest one out of all of them.
Yeah,
The last one was a very serious one. The fifth one actually was very serious too. Ghost Protocol was a little bit more funny too, as well, with Jeremy
Jeremy Renner.
Renner, and three as well too. There was a bit comedy as well, but this one was a little bit more like more laid back,
yeah,
and it was more, I think, when there was like a lot of when there was like intense moments in the film, it took it a little like off the edge of having a little bit of comedy stuff, and I felt like it kind of worked. It kind of worked for me at least.
yeah. I'm not
Um,
saying it was a bad thing.
yeah, yeah,
I just noticed it.
but for sure. Like I'm going to talk about like my pros about the film, and then I'll go down to what kind of makes me a little hesitant about it. So I will say, like, of course, the action scenes in this film, in this movie, it's spot on. Like, it's great. It's phenomenal. I love it. It didn't feel like almost like a 3 hour film. After the movie was over, like I checked my time, I'm like, holy shit, it was almost 3 hours. It didn't feel like that because this film gets you hooked from beginning to end. There's characters that I really did like. Tom Cruise is doing his own stunts in certain parts. Of course, him jumping off that huge mountain. That's actually him jumping off that huge mountain. And then everything like that, right? So the this main focus of this film is definitely story driven and action driven for sure. Okay. Now I'm gonna go towards two of the things that I'm like kind of threw me off a little bit, that I'm like, and then I'm going to give you one big issue that I have with the film. Two of the things. One, I'm going to say about I already forgot her. The one of the characters' death. There's a death scene in this film for a certain character. Elena, I think her name is, or Elsa. Elsa, I think.
Elsa, I believe,
Elsa.
yeah.
Yes. I didn't like that she died, and then after there's no emotions after that. Like
Yeah, it
Tom,
was definitely a little off.
it was a little off. Like you see Ethan like emotion of like he loved this girl or somewhat, but then after he's like, you know what, fuck it, I have this other hot girl, you know, and sure, I got you, girl. Let's do this. You know, like I just like
I
she's a
would.
character from the fifth movie where she was first introduced. She was a heavily favored character, and even going to the sixth film, Fallout, and then you put in her in this film and then you just kill her off, and then after they have to just brush it off, and then Ethan's like, I will protect you with every bit of my life. You just fucking met her. She tried to kill you in the train. Like, I mean, handcuffed in the car, and a train
Okay.
almost killed you.
Here's where I'll kind of defend. I see. I do agree. I think they just completely skipped, like maybe time skipped a lot of that like weight to it. But I almost want to argue that like he obviously takes the fall for it. Like he takes like responsibility for all of it, and then he feels like this girl is not so much like an attraction thing, but like because I fucked up, saving this girl, I need to prove to not just to you but to me that you guys are not expendable, that you guys are my team, and that I will like go to the ends of the earth for you guys and sacrifice my own life for you guys. That's where I kind of took it of like a leadership thing,
Mhm.
as opposed to like, like, oh well, here's the next new like chick that's in my life right now, and just move on from there. I think it doesn't help that, they really didn't show Ethan struggling with all of it, because you see it like when the death happens and he's like, holding her in his arms. But then the next time you see
Mhm.
Ethan, it's just like, okay, well, here's the next mission. I think they kind of hoped that seeing the other two characters and how they're kind of still grieving over it in that
Yeah.
scene was kind of carrying, hopefully to carry that, but I don't think it was enough for the whole entire emotional impact to really like settle.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah,
can agree that they did it fast for
they
sure.
did it fast, and the thing is that even that in Fallout, when I don't know if you guys
'76.
saw the movie. Oh my god, in the sixth movie, Fallout was. I don't know if you guys saw that film. Did
Yes.
you? I
I,
saw.
I'm pretty sure I did. I maybe.
Okay, okay. There's a part where he interacts with his ex-wife, and it's a very like intense scene, and like he's holding her, and he's just like, I'm so sorry. Like you see like the devastation of his choice, or like what the mission has led to. That had more emotional impact than what Elsa's death had. So I was like, it was super quick, but it's not a knock on the film. It just threw me off a bit. I'm like, okay, sure. Now the second thing is it's the story of the identity of the entity, right? Is that it's trying to manipulate people because it has this a mind of its own now. It wants to be free. It's tired of being caged up and everything like that. But how much power does the thing really have, right? You're able to have access to certain areas of the world, and you're getting you brought up a villain of Ethan's past to try to kill Ethan or try to slow him down,
To
because
kill
if
him.
to kill him, but I just didn't. I don't know. I felt like the villain was trying to kill him off of personal reasons instead of the identity.
But they explain it in the film, like the entity predicted every possible outcome of every like scenario out there. Like it's
Of
the whole
Ethan's
Doctor Strange
killing
sees
it.
all the 14 million like scenarios, and there's one scenario that Ethan goes out and destroys the entity. And that's what the entity is trying to prevent. He's trying to stop Ethan, basically kill him at this point to ensure that the entity does not get taken down.
But
I
I
don't
just
I don't
that's
think the guy's trying to kill Ethan. I mean, if Ethan's trying to kill him, yes, he'll defend himself. But I don't think he was actually. His goal was never to kill Ethan.
that's what I felt of like, wait, is the entity just trying to kill Ethan? Because he could have just easily blow up the airport.
I don't know
Or
how easy, but yeah, maybe in a different way.
in a different way or somewhat. And the thing is, like, Ethan didn't know nothing about the identity, and until like later on, where the identity could have like took advantage of that and kill him somehow.
Well, no, I agree. Why doesn't the yeah
And also
entities
too,
just
didn't
kill
he
him?
like, yeah, and also too, wasn't he like, I mean, for him to go to another country, he has to go on a plane, and you could have just easily like, just knock him out of the plane off if you have full access of technology around the world. And you know what I mean, like that's something that is just going through my mind. So I don't know if I'm overthinking it or somewhat, because if you're going through off of technology like this, where it's like the very most like powerful thing in the world, where it could destroy the world from giving from stopping the water supplies and everything else of life. What couldn't you like think of another way? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And also too, like, what is the key going to unlock? And I just feel like it's hyping it up, and I just I don't know, I'm nervous to get excited what it is.
Well, no, the
But
key is the entity.
the end,
Yeah,
yes,
it's in the
but
submarine.
it's in
Yeah.
the submarine, but like they're making it seem like there's something else more than that. So
Huh.
I'm like, I'm interested. Of course, I'm really interested in what it is, but I feel like it's going to be a letdown.
I think you're maybe misreading what they're hyping up, because I didn't get the feeling that there's something else more than just the entity itself. Like it's literally just the device that is in that thing that we saw at the very beginning of the movie. It's
Yeah.
just that device that is what the entity lies within. And then once you gain control of that, you essentially have then the key to that power. You have the like all
Hmm.
means to control it, and that's all it is. Like, because you're right, like that's the whole point of the film too, of why everyone's going after it, is that you essentially have control over everything, and nobody can stop you. And that's why everyone's going after it, wanting a piece for themselves, where
Yeah,
Ethan's
yeah.
like the only one where it's like, no, this needs to get
Hmm.
taken down. No one should have this amount of power.
It's just Caesar. Wait, is it the villain called Caesar, or I
Uh,
forgot already his
I thought it
name?
was with an R. Was it Caesar?
Raul.
No, not right.
Ra- Ra's al Ghul.
Ra's al Ghul. Let's call him Raul. Okay. So you have Raul over here in the end of the scene of him going on top of the train with Ethan. He's like, I know what it
I thought
fully
it was
unlocks.
Gabriel.
Is it
Gabriel? Yeah, I
Gabriel?
think maybe.
Oh, it is Gabriel.
Okay, all right,
Oh,
good. Let's use the real name then.
all right.
Gabriel.
So you have Raul Gabriel telling Ethan, hey, I know it's true what it fully, I know what's behind the door, and it's more than what you could imagine. I don't know if the entity is like play with his mind of what it's fully unlocks. That right there, I'll give it credit. Like, oh shit, you know what? Like maybe Gabriel is actually being manipulated by the entity.
I mean,
Entity.
he was.
Yeah, he was.
But the thing is, like, I just I don't know. Like, I feel like a person like him, like so far in the whole entire film, is very convincing, and he's like confident. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe probably I am maybe reading it differently than everyone else. Maybe I don't know. But that's the only thing that kind of threw me off the film more about the story, where I'm like, hmm, doing a story like this with AI stuff, it's kind of tricky, and I think that they did a good job on it, but it's just like I don't know, it just plays with my mind for a little bit, like
And maybe that's part of the point, right? Because now we have part
uh-huh.
one. Now makes you want to go see part two and be like, well, what's the whole resolution to this thing? Like,
No, yeah, for sure, for sure. You
did
know,
you have any other points? Because then I want to get
um,
to my last point that I want
and
to
then of
bring up.
course this is my last one. This is my retcon about the film. I don't like Gabriel. I think it's the actor. I think it's miscast. Um, I think like you hear me out. We mentioned Indiana Jones. I could imagine the actor who played Gabriel playing the villain as in the Indiana Jones film, and grab that guy. The villain was his name, Mika, whatever.
Sure, I know who you're
From
talking about.
what?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Nazi.
have him play in this one, and I think it will be such a great fucking villain.
Maybe.
I just didn't. I don't know. I just didn't. I don't know. It just felt weak. I don't know. I just felt just a miss. I don't know, a missed opportunity in my opinion. It
Is
just
this
didn't.
because he's got better hair than you?
Yeah, I don't know. And he looked like a Raul, you know. So, I don't know. I think it's the actor, or maybe it's just the way that it's written. I don't know. It's just like why is like Ethan? Why it took you this long to find this guy? And if he killed your love of your life, why didn't you go after him? And then you know what I mean? Like I don't know. It's just like, okay, I guess so. I guess we have to use somebody else. You could have done a part two again where you got an agent that has gone rogue because of the identity
Hmm.
and stuff like that. But you know what? Whatever. Probably maybe to do a better job in part two. But I think I'm convinced with my green card. I had a lot of fun. I'm gonna watch this
Yeah.
movie over and over again.
Uh,
Um, because I've done so much rewatch of all the Mission Impossible films, and this one is a great like it's a different story. It's a different story from all the other ones, and I think this one is really good.
yeah.
Okay, so oh, go ahead, Ham.
I just really wish there was something on YouTube where I'd be like, oh, the last all the movies 15 minutes. Did not find that anywhere. I wish there was one, but there wasn't.
I'm
I
sure
think it
there's got to
needed
be
it.
one out there.
I'll find one for
No,
you.
I don't think there was. Oh,
All right, last thing I do want to kind of
Yeah.
ask, and I may be the only one that maybe thought this. Um, when we're at the very last part of the movie, and it does the whole like Mission Impossible spiel, right? Like, should you choose to accept this kind of thing? Was
Yeah.
that message to Ethan? Was that like was it replaying the same message at the beginning of the movie,
I
or
believe
was it
so.
I think it was somewhat like another.
No, I think it
Um,
was the same one.
okay? So I thought it was the same one too, which then leads me to the question of did the entity set up this whole entire thing from beginning to end?
mm,
Like,
That could be, but no, we see it in the beginning where he like uh breaks into that meeting and puts everyone to sleep with night night gas. Um,
yeah, but here's the other thing too with AI shit is that like could we possibly see something where it's creating actual physical entities where it's creating I don't know robots or cyborgs of some extent where it's mimicking or basically copying people or did it maybe con that guy into creating the recording or whatever like could the entity have set this up and manipulated everybody that we saw in the movie from beginning to end.
I wouldn't be
yeah,
surprised
that would be an interesting way to go.
because you
So that
remember
that was
the
the vibe I got when it was repeating that message, and then we went and zoomed in at the very like the literal last second is the submarine part. And I'm thinking, holy shit, the entity sent that voice recording, like was somehow involved in sending that voice recording to Ethan to basically start this entire like scenario of like where like it's like almost like leading Ethan to a specific spot or leading
Because
Ethan to himself.
even that part when he was running to go save Elsa, you remember it manipulated Benji's voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
no,
you do got a point there. Like I didn't thought about that.
um, yeah, I mean it makes sense. No, but I think the guy actually says he sent Ethan because he knew Elsa. Did he not?
Yeah.
I would have to rewatch that beginning part, but I'm sure they can write up something to either retcon that or like not necessarily retcon it, but like fill in a blank of like, okay, this is why the guy initially sent it out to begin with. Because if the entity was able to manipulate Gabriel, I'm pretty sure he was able to manipulate anybody else, any of the leaders of MI, yeah,
Yeah.
of the whole organization or whatever.
I see what you're saying, and I actually do hope it does happen. That would be
That's what I was
very
kind
good.
of hoping, too. That kind of got me excited. I was like, "Oh man, this would be really cool to see like it all play out in part two." And like we get this is the part where it's okay to have a flashback of like how did this even start out to begin with.
Sure.
That's why I thought it was kind of like a cool eerie vibe at the end of like, "Oh
It
man,
was.
I
It
see where this
was.
is cool. I see where this can go." So
Yeah.
yeah, all right,
I
cool.
would say yeah. Oh, one other thing. I think this is what I was. I I had this on my mind. I was like, this is a fucking go kart. The last part of them climbing into the trains when the train was falling, them climbing up, it just reminded me of like
Uncharted.
Uncharted Part Two so fucking much that I was like, this is what I wanted from the Uncharted film,
So who are we
and
suing?
Mission Impossible is doing it. Holy fuck, this is amazing. Like, yeah, but yeah, green card
Okay, three green cards, three recommendations. Go out and see Mission Impossible. It's a
for
fun
sure,
time to be
for
had.
sure.
In theaters now.
And theaters now, IMAX, if you
I
could
don't know
afford
about
it.
now once this releases though.
Mhm.
All right. So before we wrap up, this next segment doesn't have to be that long, but this is something I
Yeah.
do want to talk about, Mike, and Ham can
Hmm.
interfere with his thoughts and jokes or whatever. Um, but this segment could be defend this shit, basically, because we can even go
Yeah,
this to
defend
Ham
this
and be like,
shit.
Ham, defend Becky, because that we know that Becky movie's a piece of
Oh
shit.
my god.
But I saw two movies over the
Hmm.
past week since we last talked.
Okay.
One of them I saw was Evil Dead Rise, and
Okay.
then I also saw Megan. I watched both. Basically,
Oh,
like
you
day
saw
apart from
Megan?
each other. I saw Megan.
Oh man.
All right. I think the first one I want to bring up because Mike, you praised these two movies, not like super high, except for Evil Dead. You really were like, oh, that could be my contender for Gold Card. And then
Yeah.
Megan, you're like, oh, it was really good, but they could have gone further with it. They could have gone more with the horror part or something like that. I remember you
It
like
was more the
talking very
gore part.
highly.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Evil Dead Rise really quick.
Yeah, of course. Why are you getting
No.
rid of Becky card?
There's a certain level of believability or like a level of like the suspension of disbelief where it's like, okay, I can let this one slide, I can this one slide. Demonic possession, oh man, anything can happen with demonic possession. Like the Evil Dead Rise is a good movie. I think the first one is is gorier than this one. I felt like the Evil Dead Rise kind of played some of the scenes safe
Hmm.
with like the graphic of it, and I think played more on like the tension. But there's in order to like not ruin the experience for me, you have to have some sort of believability of like, this is why this shit happens. So, like, if we take the first Evil Dead, everyone's going out fucking partying at a cabin, right? You're out there in the cabin, middle of nowhere. You want to go with your friends and just have this outing. Oh, look, we found a basement. Oh, it's got all this weird shit in it. Well, you're already stuck out there. Of course, you're not gonna like I don't know, like be like, oh, I'm not gonna like, go into this basement of this place that I'm staying at for like a few days. Like, it's a little bit of a stretch, but like, you know what? You're gonna go explore the basement. But when you're in the middle of a fucking city after a earthquake happened, and your first thought is, oh, let me go jump in a hole that this earthquake just opened up and check out all
Hmm.
this weird freaky shit and take something from it because it's a cool thing to do and it makes
I
sense at the moment.
I thought the same shit too.
that ruined the whole experience of the movie for me because I was in it from the beginning. I was like, "Oh man, here we go, you good old classic Evil Dead." We like, pulling the scalp. You got the blood, you got the gore, and then this earthquake happens, and the kid is like, I got nothing else to do. I'm just delivering some pizzas with my family. Let me go see what's down here. What in God's name do you
Mm.
think that that's a good idea in any scenario whatsoever? It
I
just
would
didn't make sense to me.
I
And
would
you
have
see weird
liked.
shit down there, and the kid's like, I'm still gonna go
Mm.
exploring and still check out this. And the other, like, what the hell are the sisters doing while he's down there other than screaming out his name? Like, just they're doing nothing. I
Yeah,
think that whole scene just like really ruined it for me.
I would have liked for them to somewhat stop at a library and then they found the book there instead of that whole earthquake thing. Because I was like, really, like they build on top of a fucking, they build a library on top of, like they build an apartment on top of a library, and nobody like saw that coming.
So what I heard is there is another movie, and this book is the second book out of three.
Yes.
This movie mentions that there are 3 books.
Okay,
So
which
third film is happening, and probably we might get another uh Ash version.
well, this is
Maybe?
my problem. Is this movie related at all to that first one that came out in 2000
Yes.
whatever?
Yes. But we don't know where the time is
Yeah,
in
we don't know
between.
exactly when the connection is. We just know that, like, well, it's implied. I should say it's implied that this is the second book because they say nothing about, there's no like talk or connection about the first movie, unless that
Um,
cabin was the first movie, but I don't
the
know if it
cabin is
was.
somewhat as the first one, but the thing is that they don't mention it. They just mention the second book, and
Yeah,
you
but you got to remember
assuming.
that's the end of the movie. They started the movie with the day after. So
Hmm.
that could have been, I would have to rewatch the first movie again, but that could have been the same cabin or maybe near in the same area of where the first book was. And
So
that could be
I
like your start off point for the third movie.
I saw the second. I mean, I saw the first film again before watching Evil Dead Rises. It doesn't feel like it's connected. Of like it's the same cabin
Okay. Well, I don't
to
know.
me
That's
at
what I was
least.
kind of thinking.
To me
Also,
at
my
least.
other question is, why do they look like that first one, the first girl in that movie? I'm like, does it just it's kind of weird, but all right.
The rest of the Evil Dead Rise movie, like it's good. It's good like
It's
horror,
good.
but I
It's
think it
freaky.
it really like heavily relies on the tension, but also a thing for me was like you have a little girl in here, and like 99.99999%
She's chill.
chance that she's never gonna die. So like stop putting characters that either you kill them early on and just get them out of there, or you just, I don't know, just don't put a character like that at all. Like, I don't know, in my head I was thinking the whole time like, yeah, that little girl's not gonna die. Like there's no way she's gonna die.
So
They
Sal
tried to put her in
says
so many
kill
stupid.
kids.
Oh,
All right.
and speaking of the little girl,
Kill
mm,
kids.
Yeah.
speaking, well, maybe. Well, speaking of the little girl though, shit, the stupid, like, no, not the stupidest, because the earthquake thing was the stupidest part of the whole entire movie. But the fact that this little girl sees her mom destroy shit, right? Almost kill like everybody in that movie, and then proceeds to be like, oh, well, if she's saying she's okay, let me go ahead and unlock the door because everything's fine now.
And
I'm
I
like,
saw that in the
why?
trailers.
Why
I'm
did
like,
he do
yeah.
this part? Like,
Mm.
well, it would have worked if like it was very early on and the girl didn't see anything and didn't know anything. Like, okay, that makes sense. But the girl saw everything and knows that some shit is happening. So it's like, why are you pulling this? Like, this is not okay writing in any way.
I think like I mean I'm not going to defend that part because even though I was thinking the same thing too, but it was just more of like okay, this little girl just wants shit to go back to normal, and this demon is going to pretty much hit the buttons of what hits her heart the most. Because you remember, like she know, like the demon knows exactly how everyone's feeling, like what's their darkest secret and everything and somewhat. And I just feel like the demon like pretty much like, oh hey, I'm fine now, I'm fine. And she's like, really?
So was this
And
supposed to be campy at all?
it's somewhat
It
campy,
is
but
campy, but I don't
it's
know.
freaky. I don't know. For me. I thought it was a really enjoyable, fun, freaky film of like just trying to find a way to get out of the apartments, but yet you have this fucking demon lurking around the hallways.
But it's just one hallway. That's actually the other thing. Now that
Hmm.
you bring it up, bothers me is that it's just that one hallway in that one apartment. Like you see like maybe a 5 seconds of the other apartment, the guy's apartment that she lived next to, but then that's it. I kind of went in expecting, since they showed the apartment, I was like, oh, this is gonna be a cool, like, let's go down this level and go into these rooms, and it's gonna be like this sort of like horrifying, like, hide and seek kind of game. Nope, it's all in one
Hmm.
house, and it's like, okay, everything's a little bit too, like, convenient here and there. Oh, I see where you're going. You're gonna go through that vent, and okay, I see what you're gonna do. I'm like, I don't know. I think it did fall more too much on the campy side, and where I felt like the first one really capitalized on the horror, like terrifying visual aspect of it. So I don't know. I didn't enjoy Evil Dead Rise as much as I would have liked to. I'm not saying it's a terrible film, but it's not that great. I think it got a little bit too much praise for when it shouldn't have.
I thought it was great. I enjoyed it. If you're a horror fan, like if you could just turn off your brain and
It's
enjoy
never a
it,
good excuse.
it is a good excuse. If you're able to turn off your
Uh,
brain for Indiana Jones, this guy gave it a green card.
hey, I
If I
didn't see
if
this
I learned
movie. All right,
anything from
don't blame
Evil
me
Dead
for seeing it.
Rise, if I learned
No,
anything, it's okay to go down an earthquake hole.
yeah, but I don't know. For me, I thought I had fun with the film. Of course, there were some moments where I was like, all right, that was kind of stupid, or like really, they couldn't thought of anything else. But in the end of the day, I don't know. I liked it. My God, like the gore was kind of crazy in this one.
The
Um,
first one I thought had more. I thought the first one was crazier than this
I
one.
I saw it. I think this one had a little bit more than the first one. Um, I don't know. I mean, I can't really defend it. This is how you feel about it because you did hit the points of the film of what's lacking. But I think it's an overall like a fun film to watch with your friends, and especially in Halloween that's coming up. Um,
Coming up, what the?
I know, I know. Year's been going on really, really fast. But yeah,
No,
All
I
right,
don't
well,
know.
coming up.
let's bring up Megan really quick because this one might be a shorter talk than the other one.
Yep.
Megan was boring as hell. Like,
Wow.
it was just straight up like, I am about to fall asleep because you ain't doing shit. Like, I don't know. And
Hmm.
here's where I'll give it some defense. Maybe it's because I just came off of watching Mission Impossible, where like AI shit is like better in that movie than
Oh
in
my God,
here.
yeah.
But like, I feel like there's two thoughts I had in my mind watching this movie. I'm like, number one, this is kind of what Chucky should have been. Like, if they were to make a modern day Chucky, this is kind of the route they should have taken it with. And then
Right.
number two, kind of agreeing with your point where you wish they could have done more. I wish they would have done something, like, actually something horrifying and like and gory, and like something like that was actually going to make me like sick to my stomach of watching, like of this doll, this robotic doll doing something horrible. There
I
was
think the ending was so
nothing.
over dramatic.
There was nothing terrifying about this movie, though. Like, I can't remember a certain scene that was supposed to be like terrifying and ended up like actually happening. Like even the kid that gets pushed down in the street, there was nothing terrifying about that. Like, okay, like when you started to like rip off his ear, I was like, oh, okay, what else are you gonna do? Oh, play tag? Like, what? Like,
Murder
that's
more
it? All you're doing
children.
is like chasing through the woods? Like, okay. And then the scene where the Asian guy gets killed, right? Where the she throws like the blade to his
Oh
back.
yeah.
I thought
That's
maybe,
sad.
hey, gonna see him, like, we're gonna see her like actually, like, just chop the guy up, maybe just like hack and slash. Nope, skips that entirely. I don't even think we see any blood at all in that scene.
No, we
So
So,
don't.
like,
so is Sal saying kill more kids again? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep.
I
Okay.
just it just
Kill
see
more
it
children.
it played it way too safe. Way too safe. to the point where it's like, why
Mhm.
did you even bother to make this movie if you
Was it
weren't
the
gonna really
ratings?
do
Maybe they didn't
anything
want to do
for
rated
it?
R.
It was PG-13.
Yeah, maybe they didn't want to go rated R.
Yeah, but PG-13 is also even pushing it because all it does is capitalize on this sort of like I don't even know if you can really call it a psychological like thriller because it's not. Like it tries to play off of like, oh, this thing that's has its own mind of its own that can kill is like, doing shit all over the place, and you don't know, you can't trust it because it has no evidence of like you following it to capitalize because it kills a dog in the movie, but you don't find like no one in the movie finds out that it was the one until like later on, but like
I
there was
found that I
nothing.
found that a problem.
There was nothing really scary about this movie, and it was so disappointing because I think it got like pretty good reviews overall when it first came out.
I
But
give
I'm
it a
like,
yellow.
but I'm like looking at it, I'm like, why? Like, why do people like this movie? This feels like almost like one of those like knockoff horror films where like it goes straight onto like Hulu or something, and like, oh, there's a Hulu horror film B film. Like, let's go watch this and see how much we
Mm,
hate this movie. Like,
I'm just
it
hearing
was
worse than Becky. That's all I'm hearing.
no, no one, nothing is as
no,
bad as
nothing's
Becky,
worse
but
than
like
Becky.
I don't know, it just was so boring, and I
Uh,
couldn't, I don't know, I didn't think of it as highly as I guess Mike thought, but Mike, I guess you didn't think of it as that big of a film.
yeah, I didn't think it was big. I mean, I went in there with low expectations because I heard good things about it too. And when I got out, I was like, yeah, it wasn't bad. It was okay. Like it's way better of what the Chucky film was trying to do. This is exactly what the Chucky should have done if they wanted to do AI stuff. And I think the film was like somewhat kind of like I just found the film like I think interesting of what they were trying to pull off, and I walk out of that film like, yeah, it wasn't bad. I would have liked a lot more gore. I would have liked more crazy stuff for it because if they could have just done that, I think the film could have definitely be like, yeah, this was actually actually a good film. But I think overall, like it was just like, yeah, a decent film. I don't think I'll sit down and watch it again with somebody. I mean, somebody be like, "Hey, I never saw Megan. You want to watch it with me?" Yeah, sure, put it on, I guess. But like like me telling somebody like, "Yo, you need to watch this film."
Nope,
No,
nope. Mm-mm. It was
mm.
boring, too boring. I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, I will recommend. I mean, out of those two films, Evil Dead Rises for sure,
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
without doubt, and then they'll make up their minds if they liked it or not. Maybe, but for Megan, I don't know. I feel like for Megan, Ham will like it.
No,
Uh,
no, I wouldn't even go that far and say that you would like it.
uh-uh.
I think so. Like it will be like
I,
modern.
I had Megan on my list, and I don't know. I'd have to. And I never watched it. Still, I can watch it right now, and I'm like, I don't know.
I mean, because since like you're too scared to watch like scary movies. Like this
Uh
movie
huh.
is not that.
Uh huh.
It's
Oh,
That's
not
I
that
also
scary.
watched Meg. I did watch Meg in preparation for Meg 2.
Oh,
oh, we're not doing that for
man,
sure.
I'm doing that one. The
I
movie
do want to
sucks.
watch Meg 2 because I'm just a sucker for sharks. So
Yeah, Meg wasn't that bad. It was
it
actually a
was
fun
okay.
movie.
It was a campy shark movie, and it was okay.
Yeah, but do we really need three?
I do.
Did they say three? What are you talking about now?
I'm
Yeah,
sure it'll be a trilogy.
and the no. I'm talking about like there's three Megadons in the new one.
Yeah, well, right? Because like, how do you top the first one? Oh, there's a whole school of them. There's a whole like pack of them. Like, of course, that's what you're gonna do.
They're
You add more. When is that
they're
actually? Now that we're talking about it, and this will be the last thing that I bring up, and then we gotta wrap this up. When is that the other shark movie coming out? The one where they're at the oil rig and
Black Demon.
yeah, is that out already?
Yeah, it's been out.
What? I didn't know.
Yeah,
Someone fact check that.
let me see. I saw it on a certain website.
I don't think that's
Black
out yet.
Black Demon, right? The Black Demon. Yeah, it's on. You could rent it right now.
What? How much?
Yeah,
Two
I
bucks?
thought I saw it out already.
$6 in Amazon
Uh,
Prime.
too much. Too much.
And the
I'll think
reviews,
about it.
holy fuck! Yeah, I got to think about this film.
Oh, it's bad. No, it actually seemed
Oh,
kind of good, but oh well, we'll see. All right. All right, Mike, do that thing you're gonna do.
Hey guys, so if you guys want to watch, or hear, or I don't know, get any notification, I guess, whenever we try to update our social media, follow us on social media on WRMA Cast on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, you know, even on Spotify. Hear us out, guys. Whose reviews matter, anyways. And then write us an email. Ham will write to you of should we kill more children in movies? I don't know.
No, that's Sal, man. You talk to Sal about
I
that.
don't know. Write us an email at drunkcop.ateacher@gmail.com.
Now, I will chime in with the last set of words, and then you guys can follow suit. But if anything you learn from this episode is don't go down fucking holes that earthquakes open up for you. Because apparently logic doesn't dictate that. So in case you needed to hear that, this is me telling you, don't go down any fucking holes that an earthquake opens up.
Or do not go into a giant butthole that could take you to 200 BC in the sky.
Okay.